What's the thing that scares you the most?
Confined spaces and blood particles in the air, the dark, that coral thing that's been staring at me since I came in here.
Chris, I'm scared to death.
Welcome to the Sum of All Fear podcast, the show that examines real-life phobias and the horror movies that prey on them.
So pour yourself something strong, Feardos, and let's find out what makes you afraid.
You need some like Beano or something.
I'm sorry, I'm belchy. I don't know what my deal is. I've been bloated and belchy. I probably have cancer.
We all have cancer.
I'm sure I have something chronically wrong with me.
Yeah, you chronically eat shitty.
I do.
And don't exercise.
Sometimes.
And
occasionally I do.
And drink probably not enough water considering we're at such a high altitude.
Sometimes I don't. Correct. I don't see how this is relevant.
No?
No.
Well, one day.
But I'm alive.
You are. And well.
To live another day. Not well, but I'm alive.
I think you're fine. I think you're a little bit in your head about it because you're getting older and you're approaching 40 and you're having some trouble wrestling.
I'm not approaching 40. I'm 38.
And your best friend is turning 40 and
shut up.
You know, all those things are very challenging.
You know, you really are bringing me down. All right.
Way down. That's where I tend to go.
You're going to be pushing 40 yourself here soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Make it look.
You going to make it look what? You make it look good?
Chaotic. I was like, no, but seriously, what am I going to make it look? Probably chaotic. Yeah, I'm going to be
all right. Welcome back, Feardos.
Hey, Feardos.
We are the Sum of All Fear podcast, the show that talks about real-life phobias from a mental health perspective and then pairs those fears with horror movies that prey on them.
Woohoo.
That's what we do.
Sometimes.
Yippity-doo. Yippity-doo. I'm Drew, a writer and horror nerd, and this is my titillatingly talented.
I like tint.
Titillatingly.
No, I've never been tinted in my entire life. I've always been so pale. Please call me tintillated.
Titillatingly talented wife, Chris, a professional mental health therapist.
Sometimes.
No, I'm full-time. I mean, that's your job. And that's also,
technically my job.
It never goes away. It's your title.
Well, yeah, technically my job is case manager. Or yeah, case management. But anyways,
and we apologize again as usual for delaying this one a little bit longer than we wanted to. However, I've been on the road, been gone. We both been on the road. We took a vacation, and then I got home, and I've been gone I think twice since then, or something like that.
Yeah, we went to the city of smog.
We did, but yeah, we haven't recorded an episode since we went to Hollywood, and.
Weird.
And I've been to San Francisco a couple times working, been gone. So it's been tough to find any time, but we're back now, and we wanted to get this out before Halloween, considering the topic of our show is the fear of Halloween.
Ooh, it's our favorite time of year.
Don't call it Samhainophobia.
Like we have been all week. Or
Samhainophobia.
Yeah, you guys can all shame us. I'm sorry.
Samhainophobia. No, because we figured out the proper pronunciation prior to recording the episode.
Did we figure it out?
Figured it out. Yeah. So, but we haven't forgot about you.
No,
Feardos.
We never forget about you. We
love you guys. We've had a large stretch of good growth in the podcast over the last few weeks too. Even though we haven't had a new episode, we've really been kicking some butt. So thank you for listening. I've seen quite a few new listeners pop up, and people have been commenting on social media. And
it's so much fun.
That is really cool. It's really fun to see the growth. And I think now that we're getting into like the 20s and 30s of episodes, that steady growth is cool because people can can kind of binge listen. And
our podcast is really starting to mature, and it's going to settle down and have 2.5 kids and a dog
and a white picket fence.
According to
that's the standard. Yeah.
Quote unquote standard.
We're getting good.
I don't know whose standards. That's lame. Who wants half a kid? What half do you get? The loud half or the smelly half? Or you split it right down the middle?
Maybe down the middle. I don't know.
That's what they did in Trick or Treat. So
no, they did that in Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
Did they do that?
Didn't they split a kid down the middle? Oh no, cut the head off.
You just decapitated.
Sorry, I was thinking the other one.
In Terrifier, they cut the girl down the middle.
Yes. Oh.
And you guys know it's October. The best month of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. We all love it. It's the Halloweeny season.
And if you live in Nevada, it's also the best month of the year and the best day of the year because it's Nevada Day on Halloween.
That's right. On
so
Halloween,
Nevada goes
we have an extra holiday.
Fucking crazy.
It doesn't go that crazy.
It goes crazy. It
Not
has
really.
a 4-hour-long parade.
In Carson City, but who hangs out there?
Thousands of people.
Eh,
They have a beard off.
Halloween. Don't get in the way of my Halloween with your Nevada Day, all right?
Ooh,
all right.
Don't you fight me.
Do you hear me?
Homein's Nevada, bitch.
We're decorating. We're doing costume plans. We've been going to haunted houses and there's festivals. We've been Halloweening it up.
You sound
that a
like
word?
an engine that's trying
Halloween. Did you have fun in LA?
I had so much fun.
So we took off. We had an impromptu vacation that we talked about last time that we just took off and we're like, fuck it. We're going to Hollywood, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go to Hollywood, baby. We're off to Hollywood, baby.
And we definitely did that. And it was great, actually. We had a lot of fun kind of wandering the weirdness of Hollywood and Burbank and kind of the Valley area.
Yeah. But we kept it horror themed pretty much the whole time.
Pretty much. We
did a lot of cool horror
Mystic
stuff.
Museum. We went and saw all the Evil Dead
Very
stuff.
first day we went and saw the Evil Dead exhibit at the Mystic Museum at which is right there in Burbank, right close to our hotel.
Actual Necronomicon.
Yeah, they had all these like original props, and they had some really cool.
Sam Raimi's private collection.
No, it wasn't Sam Raimi's private collection. No, it was actually a couple of different people that had worked on the set who had gotten things over the years. I think they were set designers and things like that. I'll have to look at the story again, but it was not, I don't know. They may have gotten some things from Sam Raimi as well, but I think
like
a lot of it,
a little placard that said something about that.
Might have. Yeah. But there was a lot of it was like from people who had gathered some things, and some stuff was in storage and somebody had helped them move some stuff. And we're like, holy shit, you have tons of stuff from the original.
I totally do.
And so that's kind of how it went down. And they ended up going, hey, cool. This would be a rad, rad chance to
really cool
show off all this cool shit.
Support the Mystic Museum.
It was really
They're
cool.
awesome. They've got some great merch and just really cool oddities in their little shop.
Yeah, it was super, super fun. And then that night we went and did that like right after we got into town. And then that night we went to Screamfest.
Which was a blast.
Yeah, which was super cool. It was a horror movie festival. We just caught the second day. So we caught 2 movies that night, 2 premieres. And it was total red carpet, kind of deal. It was fun.
Well, it was we walked like a reddish gray carpet. It was a little gnarly.
It's a concept. It's the concept, not a.
It was at the formerly Grom's Chinese Theater. I don't know.
No, Grom's is next door.
Oh.
But it's part of that. It's part of that complex. It's like that big IMAX. It's the TCL Chinese Theater.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
But it's part of that complex. Grom's is still next door, or where people put their handprints and all that shit.
Yeah. Just a massive facility.
Yeah, it was cool.
Insane.
And we saw the first movie we saw was just came out last week, I believe, on VOD, so you can actually rent it now. And it was Trick. Directed by Patrick LeSueur.
Unexpectedly fun.
Really fun. Really, really fun. Patrick LeSueur is the director who did My Bloody Valentine, the remake of My Bloody Valentine, and Dracula 2000. But he really honed his craft from Wes Craven. And you can see a lot of that inspiration kind of mixed in. He worked on Scream and he worked on a lot of other things as well. But it starred Omar Epps, who was there.
From House.
And
also from Scream.
And from Scream.
Too.
Yeah. And from a couple of other things, horror things. Jamie Kennedy, also from Scream.
Omar Epps is oddly short, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of actors in general, isn't it?
No.
Jamie Kennedy was pretty tall, but I expected him to be kind of taller.
Sure.
Somewhat taller.
I went to the restroom and shared a hand washing with Omar Epps' daughter. She was very sweet.
Wow.
Yeah. One of those starstruck moments.
Jamie Kennedy was there, and Tom motherfucking Atkins was there, was
that his whole name?
That's his whole name. Yeah, that's his given name, Tom motherfucking Atkins.
That guy's a badass. He had such a good part in this movie.
And
it
women,
was so much fun.
And the women you can just see women melt around that guy too. Like that guy just has an air about him.
Yeah, he has like a Hefner air, except less creepy.
It was great, and his character in this movie was so awesome. He had so many. They built in so many great Tom Atkins one-liners. Like if there is no other reason to see this movie, it's just to see Tom Atkins be Tom Atkins. That was brilliant. So really good slasher, kind of a a slasher almost like making fun of not making fun of, but like homaging slashers and not being too serious
really
with itself.
hard to explain.
It was really, really fun.
It was not at all what I expected. I expected some, like silly trope about trick or treat or whatever. And it's I kind of thought
it would be a little bit more like kind of dramatic as opposed to kind of tongue in cheek. And it was very tongue in cheek, but it was really, really good. I thought it was
tongue
fun.
in cheek in great ways where you're like, yes.
The dialogue was like terrible, but you could tell it was terrible on purpose.
Yes,
like
intentionally terrible.
So that was really fun. But and then right after that, we saw The Wretched, which was from the Pierce brothers, who are this is their first feature.
Mark my words, y'all.
I think they're going to be big.
Are going to be huge in horror. Huge.
I think so too.
Massive in horror. The way they did this was great. And attending Screamfest, we got to kind of sit afterwards with the cast and the directors or the producers and kind of ask questions. And for this particular movie, tons of the cast and crew were at the showing.
Basically, the showing was like the whole theater was filled with people who were family and cast and crew.
How proud everybody was of this. And many of the actors expressed how it was their first real film that they had ever done and how happy it was so moving.
I could see this getting a big release in the summer because it was kind of a summer movie, like centered around a lake, kind of cabiny area, touristy area in the summertime. I could see it getting a summer release, even in the big screen, possibly. But if not, I could definitely see it on, coming out on a Netflix or a Shudder or something like that.
Somebody's going to pick it up.
It was really well done. I was really impressed. And the cast was mostly unknown actors or actors who just had kind of first time actors or people who had bit parts.
It was great.
Yeah.
He was so charismatic
really enjoyed
and
it.
Adorable.
Yeah, this is going to be a long intro, huh? Because we have a lot to talk about.
We have so much. We did the things.
We did a lot of the things. Yeah. And then after that, we went and saw did the Screamfest thing, which was really fun. Then we had our Universal Horror Nights the next night, which was so much fun. And I tell you what, if you ever think about going to Halloween Horror Nights, get the fucking Fast Pass.
And you're over 25.
Ooh, boy.
Get the Fast Pass.
We got it. We had the Fast Pass.
Get the early entrance. Do not bring even any gum in because they made me throw out my gum it was like caffeine gum.
Yeah, I think they thought it was like weed candy or something.
And I was like, no, bitch, I'm old. I'm trying to stay awake through all of these, okay?
The Fast Pass was way, way, way worth it. Like the lines were crazy. By the end of the night, there was like
2-hour waits.
2-hour waits for some of the mazes. And we walked on to everything.
Stranger Things right away. That was a badass
We did
one.
Stranger Things, Ghostbuster. I mean, we went through every single one of them before 11:30.
Yeah.
And there's 10 different mazes.
We got in at 6?
I think it was a little earlier than that.
5:45?
Something like that.
Something like that.
But yeah, I mean, we got through them all and we had dinner and we sat around and watched people
chase other people with chainsaws. And
the actors, chase people. And we got a full experience. By 11:30, we were tired and we were like, that's all right. Let's go home.
My feet hurt so bad.
And we were thinking about going on some things twice, but you can only use your Fast Pass once.
So then you have to wait in line.
So then you have to wait in the normal line. And by the time we left, I mean, there was like Us, which was the most incredible. The Us maze was like Jordan Peele's Us. They did a whole, they basically recreated the movie inside of the maze
in there.
And the actors looked just like them too. It was fucking crazy.
Well, the thing is they have over 30 actors on rotation every 30 minutes that look similar.
It's crazy.
And all like different actors in different rooms that look so similar that you think that person ran from there to here. But that's not that person that ran from there.
So
I was reading articles after because I was so fascinated with how they pull
it off.
Thing off.
Because these actors are doing the same motion, over and over and over again, jumping out, for however. And you're thinking if they're doing this all day, this would be impossible, So they rotate them every 30 minutes.
And I did a lot of research on how
super fun though.
They do that, and it was amazing.
I really enjoyed it. I would totally do it again. It was fun. And then what else? Then this week, I was in San Francisco, and I got to do
Terror Vault,
a pretty badass haunted house with a lot more nudity than I expected, which was interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, it is San Francisco, so what do you expect?
Nudity, it should be unexpected. Welcome to nudity.
Oh, nudity is always welcomed, and always
unexpected
nudity is always welcome. I shouldn't say that. That sounds That sounds like, there's certain people up on the street that I don't think I'd want to see unexpected nudity, but
But it's their right.
it was okay.
They
It was all
can
good.
whatever they want.
But yeah, it was at the vault. It was at the Mint, the old San Francisco Mint, where they used to keep all the gold and print the money and all that shit, which is a really amazingly cool building. And they have this thing there every year called the Terror Vault, which is supposedly one of the top haunted houses in the country. It's 45 minutes long. It's a total interactive experience. But yeah, we walked into one room and there was just this butt naked dude running around, like getting in our face, telling us that we had to go get in the closet. And then his dominatrixy girl came in
brain.
and he's totally swinging brain and spread eagle on the bed, which was right in front of our faces.
Wait, I'm sorry. In horror movies, we have to specify he was swinging his dick, not his actual brain.
His balls.
Yeah, like actual.
The brain is the balls. When you say swinging brain, you're talking about your balls.
Right. But in horror movies, we have to specify when we say swinging.
He wasn't
brain.
swinging other brains. No. But and then a chick came in who was totally naked, and they both had this whole spiel on the bed, and we're.
Do you think they did the morning shift at the Armory?
Yeah,
and then
probably.
Came over for the night shift
over at kink.com.
Yes.
It could be.
They're kink.com execs, man.
So that was interesting, but it was actually a really cool haunted house. And at the end, it ends with you in all the
did they paint on your face?
Yeah, they do all kinds of stuff to you. It's not like crazy, extreme haunt kind of thing.
Manor.
No, but it's pretty interactive. There's a lot of fun kind of interaction with the actors and stuff. But yeah, it ended with this cool scavenger hunt in the vaults. So there's all this huge area where these vaults were, and you have to go into all the rooms and try to find things.
You separate yourself, which is rule number
everybody
one.
Everybody has to separate and find their own thing to
rule
get out.
Number one of horror movies is you do not separate.
Yeah, so it was super fun. Really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. Yeah. So anything else on your end that you need to recap on? What else? Anything else going on? Just Halloween stuff. We got parties this weekend.
Yeah, we got a big, huge Halloween party for our best buddy Billy. He's turning the big 4-0. And
this guy is going all out.
He missed his calling as a special effectser or set designer.
He's spending probably he's estimating he's going to spend about $5,000.
Fuck me, that's more than our wedding.
Yeah, no shit.
Come on. Oh wow! So much, but
it's crazy.
Has a pig.
Yeah, he's roasting a pig.
Goat
he's doing
heads on sticks, and I'm sure we'll post some pictures. But he's going all out, and so that's this weekend.
That's tomorrow night. Yeah.
We'll be recapping that, and then in the meantime, I am playing in a roller derby tournament. So I'll be going from playing 2 derby bouts on Saturday to partying. And then back to playing 2 more bouts on Sunday, and then kind of helping my team wrap up our tournament. So
busy weekend.
And then I took Monday.
And the Joe Bob marathons tonight too.
Joe Bob!
Yeah, the Joe Bob marathons tonight as well. So I'm going to be over at helping my friend decorate for his party while watching Joe Bob. I think
it's going to be legendary.
It's going to be legendary.
Joe Bob's Last Drive-In Show.
All right,
let's get into
that's the
shit.
recap.
Stop burping.
Sorry, I can't stop burping.
Stop burping.
We're a fucking hot mess.
You're a hot mess.
You're a hot mess.
Thank you.
So as always, guys, please check out our Facebook at Some of All Fear Podcast and on Twitter and Instagram at Some of All Fear Pod. And if the spirit does move you, we also have Patreon. Thank you, Feardos, Cody, and Toby for supporting us on there. We received a wonderful new review on Apple iTunes from M. Kelly D.
I want you to know, M. Kelly, this made me cry.
Oh,
I teared up.
Were your hormones just super thrown off, or
no? It's very sweet. I really appreciate it.
We do appreciate you, M. Kelly D, which I believe is Megan, by the way. She posted on her Instagram as well, or posted a really nice post up on Instagram up in her stories. I believe her name is Megan, and she sent us a sweet note on Instagram as well. But she wrote on our iTunes, she said, "Fearfully fascinating. I am thrilled I stumbled upon a podcast that combines 2 of my favorite pastimes, reading the DSM and watching all things horror.
My kind of people.
The parallels of the Hollywood horror and our own fears lends to a gripping and bingeable listen. The humorous banter is the cherry on top."
Oh,
that was a really cool review. So we thank you so much, Megan, for that wonderful review.
Let us know if you want us to send you some
Oh
stickers.
yeah, I'll message you this week, and I'll if you would like stickers, I will send some stickers out to you.
Please let us know if you would like some merch. Message us. The 11% of you that are outside of the U.S., we will send you some too.
Yeah, we have 11% listeners international now.
So excited!
That's grown.
That's wonderful.
Pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
So Feardos, be like Megan. Please go to your podcast apps and give us a rating and review, and we will give you a shout out as well. And if anyone wants, like she said, some stickers, just shoot us a message with your address, and we will send you some. Are you ready to get back into our Trivial Pursuity new What the Fear segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
That we're trying out. Let's do it. How long have we gone? We've gone almost 20 minutes on our intro. We've eaten up all of our What the Fear time, but let's do it anyway. It's time for the world's greatest horror-based trivia game.
What the fear? You say it now.
What the fear?
There you go. Okay, you have to say it like that.
All right, now that we have recapped our entire lives
What are you laughing about?
over the last few weeks, we said nothing about our children. We said nothing about anything important. It was just horror movie stuff.
Well, that's what the podcast is.
Well, I guess that's kind of what
so
it's
we're a
about.
little focused.
But it is time to play What the Fear
Your favorite fear-based
trivia game. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Trivia Pursuit. This is the Trivia Pursuit version of What the Fear.
Yeah.
Since we were just getting bored of our old format,
We'll
so
just switch it up.
we're spicing it up.
Oh, you got to keep it spicy, baby.
Yeah, gotta keep it spicy. And I think I got like 2 out of 3 last time.
I think it was like
with
1.5.
one pass,
Yeah.
1.5 out of 3.
And you get one pass, right?
One pass.
Okay.
One pass.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do
3
is
rolls,
we're gonna play basically
1 pass.
straight up horror movie trivia. I forgot to get the categories again, so I'm bummed because now I don't know what the categories are. Did you find a card?
No.
There's got to be a card in there somewhere, like just like a generic card that's like supposed to be in the.
No, I can't look for it now. But anyways, go on.
Suck. I don't like it.
Why don't you look it up on the Google?
Well, I guess I could. Sometimes that makes
Ah, here it is.
Oh, there is one. Woohoo!
Found
All
it.
right, cruising now. Okay, I will roll the die,
Yeah, you will.
and we will pick a category. Today's
Ding.
first category is psychological.
Ooh,
That seems to that's appropriate. We do that stuff here. All right, host.
Your question is, at the end of 2016's Don't Breathe, is the villainous blind man dead?
The answer to that question is no. He goes to the hospital at the end, and we see that he's alive.
Good job. Very well done.
I just watched that a few weeks ago.
You had half a chance at getting that right. Very well done.
I actually knew it though.
You did. I like, you showed your work at the end.
Yeah,
too.
it was one of those where like the guy's got to be dead, and then he shows
And
up.
it's
at
like,
the end.
aha, there he is.
He's back.
Well, good job. Second
Yep,
roll.
Yep.
1 for 1.
1 for 1. Roll number 2. Don't Breathe is a cool movie, by the way. I do recommend it. It's very
I haven't
interesting.
seen it.
It's kind of interesting because it's like these guys are like sneaking into this guy's house because they know he's wealthy, but he's also deaf. And so they assume that they can just
Attack him.
wait a minute. He's not deaf. He's blind. Sorry, blind. So they figure if they're quiet enough and they sneak around enough, they can kind of
But no, because he's
and beat him down if they need to because he's blind. But
That's
he
really-
turns out to be this like crazy badass that like.
that's prejudicial.
But and then there's a bigger twist at the end that I won't give away
Oh.
about whether or not this man is a good person or a bad person,
Well, roll
or
that,
maybe it's in between. I don't know. You're gonna have to find out. Watch Don't Breathe.
roll that beautiful bean footage now.
Ew.
I love it that you hate that so much.
All right.
Oh, psychological again.
No, should I re-roll or should we just go again?
No.
All right. Psychological it is again. I like new categories.
Okay. What is the color of the lanterns lit at the house of the invitation members in 2015's The Invitation?
Oh, red.
Red is correct. You're
Red.
really good at the psychological category.
Well,
babe.
Invitation is a badass movie too. That is the one I keep trying to remember. That's, you know what the one that is. I keep trying to get you to watch that one. It's the one where they invite everybody over, and at the end they find out it's like a cult, a killing cult, and they go in the back and like everybody's put their lanterns out in the like valley in LA who's part of this cult, and they've killed the people they've invited over. It's fucking crazy. It's awesome. I've told you all about that movie.
I never would have gone to LA if I had watched that.
It's super good. Super good. I like that movie a lot.
Well, that's 2 on my list now.
You know, that's one we need to have. We'll have to cover that one on the podcast somewhere because there's something in there that we can definitely. Fear of dinner parties.
Wealthy?
Fear of dinner parties.
The valley?
Fear of cults.
Fear of cults. Yeah.
We can do a 2-part series on that one.
Fear of cults would be so much fun. Anyways,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Midsummer.
Yeah.
Could do all kinds of stuff. One more?
Yeah, one more.
2 for 2, baby.
Are you going to make it 3 pink? No, not 3 in the pink.
3 in the pink? Did you say 3 in the pink?
I think it did.
Come on, you could take 3 in the pink.
You dirty bastard. Blue.
Blue. Gore/disturbing is the blue category. Gore/disturbing. I like it.
Okay. The Midnight Meat Train, 2008. Which character becomes the butcher at the end? Leon Kaufman, Maya Jones, Lynn Hadley, or Randall Cooper? Midnight Meat Train.
Which character becomes the butcher at the end?
Leon, Maya, Lynn, or Randall?
Leon is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Randall is the last one. I don't remember anybody's name in that movie. I don't know if I remember the end exactly how it ends either. So I'm just gonna take a guess. Let's go with Randall.
Ooh,
Leon.
Sorry, it was Leon.
Leon was my first.
It
my
was
first thought too. I was
Leon.
gonna say Leon. Oh well.
Well,
I knew it was one of the guys.
2 out of 3. Well done.
Not bad.
Feardos,
We hope you enjoyed.
Let us know out there if you were able to get 3 out of 3.
Yeah, I kind of I love trivia.
I know.
And I really love Trivial Pursuit, and nobody ever wants to play with me.
Well, we all play with you now.
The world plays with me now.
The world plays with me now. It sounds like something evil.
The world plays with me now.
The world will never be able to deny me again.
Are you ready to talk some Halloween?
Yeah.
We're not gonna fuck around anymore. No more fucking around. We're going straight to some Halloween action. It is Halloween in 1 week. In fact, I was going to release this episode on Monday. I'm going to go ahead and just release it probably tonight
as soon as you can edit it.
Tomorrow morning, as soon as I can edit it, just to get it out there because Halloween is less than a week away now. We're recording this on Friday, and Halloween is next Thursday.
Woo-hoo.
And we are going to talk some Samhainophobia, which is the fear of Halloween. Which is a real fear, real phobia.
Yeah.
And has some interesting roots.
Super interesting.
Some fun stuff. And then we're going to talk horror anthologies. We're going to talk our favorite horror anthologies.
Fun for the whole family, y'all.
Some of our favorite movies and some things that we, you had never seen Tales of Halloween. So you got to watch that today. So
yeah, I have a lot of opinions on that.
And you like Trick or Treat already. So that was cool.
Big fan. I'm wearing my Trick or Treat shirt.
You are. You have a new sweatshirt. It's very cute. With a little Sam,
a little baby Sam,
a little baby Sam,
little sucker.
So let's get right to it and talk about Samhainophobia, the fear of Halloween. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Drew.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast?
Why, yes, I have.
When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had a lot of questions. Like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do we make money podcasting? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now just by reading this ad.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now?
That means if you want to get a podcast going and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. Join me and Chris and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Samhainophobia.
Not Samhainophobia. I don't think we can call Sam from Trick or Treat Sam. We have to call him Sow.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious why his name is Sam now, but maybe just
it's Gaelic. So this comes from Gaelic tradition. So that's why we get the weird ass spelling that is not pronounced how it looks
at all.
It's centered around the Celtic festival, right? That highlights the end of the harvest season, which is October 31st.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of where the etymology comes from. It comes from this Gaelic word, the fear of this Celtic festival that we base our Halloween traditions around, right? And I'll just give a quick definition, and then we'll get into all of your wonderful notes. Samhainophobia is defined as a persistent, abnormal, and unwarranted fear of Halloween. Samhainophobia. I'm going to do that so many times. Samhainophobia is a term rooted in ancient pagan traditions, particularly those of the Celtic Druids. The festival of Samhain was celebrated as early as 2,000 years ago to mark the night before the Celtic New Year. October 31st, the last day of the Celtic year, was seen as a time when the veil between the living and the dead was thin, and ghosts could walk among the living for both good and evil. The Samhain festival was centered around massive bonfires, ritual sacrifices to the gods, and fortune-telling. Participants generally wore costumes made from animal skins. Did I just totally kill all of your
no, not
your notes
at all.
with my brief recap?
No, not at all. We definitely read the same article for
that
sure.
was the intro to an article that I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Me too.
That sums it all up right there.
But that's okay. Way better coming out of you.
Oh, not true.
And what I want to mention is like this Celtic druid or, kind of pagan tradition was more of like the seed. And the roots really extended from there in a variety of directions. So we actually see influence from modern day perspective. We see influence from the Celtics, of course, the Scottish, early Brits, as well as the Irish. So I will go through kind of how
all the British Isles,
all the Isles
and all of that stuff over there have that they have that pagan tradition,
right?
Like that very early, land kind of living. I'm trying to think of the word. Everything's living around you, and there's spirits, and there's a lot of these kind of early pagan traditions that were formulated in that particular area. Like It was very common.
And this new year was, it was both a celebration and it was also a little bit of a scary time because they weren't sure what kind of spirits would appear during this kind of thinly veiled period of time where the dead and the living were allowed to mix together, basically.
Right. You can see your grandma, or you can see
something super terrifying.
Joe Bob the serial killer.
Right. Joe Bob the serial killer.
I mean, that's a very British name. I
I'd
don't know
still
if you
take
know
a
that
picture
or not.
with him. But when it comes to the actual phobia, it's really important for us to discuss the roots of this historically and how it came to be now, because that's where the root of the phobia really stems from.
Sure.
We see more folks who are experiencing maybe a crisis of a crisis of identity or a crisis of faith, who also tend to reject notions and things frequently seen during Halloween.
Sure.
So it's really important for us to first talk about where it came from. So Celtic Druids, 2,000 years ago, throwing these big parties, in honor of this new year.
It's a death life cycle.
Yes.
Right. We see that in so many cultures, that there's this kind of the calendar year is very important. It's a death. There's a closing of the year and an opening of the year. A lot of it always has to is rooted in harvest, or when crops are dying and when crops are replanted and all those kinds of things.
That movie we saw,
Midsummer, had that for sure. There was
that was terrible.
Yeah,
that was what
Midsummer festivals and all that kind of stuff that go on and there are things like that across the globe. Like you see it in literally every single culture.
Well, and
in one way or another,
and back so far. We already said 2,000 years ago, but we see even through like the 9th century, where we kind of see the roots of trick-or-treating beginning, where it kind of began as something called mumming, where you dressed up and you kind of acted a fool in order to receive drinks and food. And it was kind of a silly thing, right? In the Middle Ages, we have that kind of Christian and pagan ideas mixing in the form of All Souls Day, which was actually November 2nd. And this holiday was more of an honoring of the dead, with a masquerading as the dead. So almost like a putting on of the dead in honor of the dead, kind of like the Day of the Dead.
Sure.
A little bit.
Sure.
They did a bonfire and did something that also lends itself to modern day trick-or-treating called souling, which is where the poor in a town would actually dress up and visit houses of the rich and ask for food and sweets in exchange for prayers over their dead family members.
Interesting.
And
almost like indulgences, like in the Catholic Church. Yeah.
And do you want to know what the sweets were called that they gave out for those prayers?
What?
Soul cakes.
Oh man,
That's
I want some soul cakes.
Badass.
I've had soul cakes. You can get those down in New Orleans. They're delicious. They're like, it's also the hoe cakes, soul cakes, the same things.
Hoe cakes are way different.
Nah, soul cakes and hoe cakes are good.
Those are ho-hos.
No, hoe cakes are not ho-hos. Do you know what a hoe cake is?
No.
You don't know what a hoe cake is, do
No.
you? And you lived in Louisiana for that long. A hoe cake is like it's kind of a bland cornbready kind of cake.
Never mind.
That's my mom makes them.
That's like middle Southern. That's Tennessee. That is not the South. South we
you have them in Louisiana too. Trust
down
me.
Here.
Trust me.
No,
there are hoe cakes down there too.
Sweet cornbread. We have sweet fucking crawfish. If we could.
We are not going to fight about this.
No, we are.
I'll just prove it to you after we're done. All over the South.
But anyways,
got hoe cakes.
So the soul.
They may call them something different though, because they do have different. Sometimes there's different names for them. But anyway, soul cakes sounds like something. Day, right? Sounds like something that.
Please give me some small soul cakes.
No, I was thinking I would go down and get some blues music and eat me some soul cakes. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Soul cakes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we've got this idea of like mumming, acting a fool in order to kind of receive a thing. And then we've got souling, like, I'm so poor, please, sir, may I have some soul cakes and I will pray for your dead kind of thing now in the Middle Ages. And then we hop on over to Scotland and we see guising, which is a door-to-door showing of like an actual skill as a trick. Like, here's a magic, but for a treat.
Or I'm going to tap dance for you.
Yeah, for a treat or ale, which, fuck yes.
Well, I mean, that is a tradition in a lot of neighborhoods. Like, kids come and get their treats and you offer them a beer. Like, I kept a cooler by the door.
You offered the kids
last
a beer?
year? No, the adults.
That's what it sounded like you just said.
I kept a cooler by the door last year.
Well, it started off as adults, but then it did turn into children because, in Scotland in that time, there was probably more potable beer than there was water available.
Sure.
So, that probably had something to do with it. But
everybody drank it to some extent. So
we see that lending itself as well. And then we get closer and closer to modern day, from Celtic mumming and souling to Scottish guising. And we see the influence of the early 1800s Britain that really had started to kind of idolize this 1600s hero named Guy Fawkes.
Oh, Guy Fawkes.
And his plot
But Guy Fawkes
to blow up the
on
parliament.
November 5th?
Yeah, hold on. And his plot
Remember the 5th of November?
Yeah, and his plot to blow up the parliament, right? As part of their kind of celebration of Guy Fawkes Day, they began to wear masks and walk around Britain asking a penny for the guy.
Is that why you conveniently placed a Guy Fawkes mask
I did.
on our mantle right over your shoulder?
Because Guy Fawkes Day is one of my favorite days. I really... I think it's fun.
It's a good, strong anti-government day. I like it.
So then we see, after the 1800s, we see early colonists of all kinds bringing Guy Fawkes Day, plus the Irish and Scottish immigrants bringing mumming and souling and guising. And really, it was the Irish immigrants after the potato famine that...
The potato famine
that came over to America and really popularized Halloween, and the mixing of all of those traditions kind of together, the melding of those. Part of the reason why Guy Fawkes was so important is because Guy Fawkes was a part of a Catholic-led conspiracy to remove the Protestants from power.
Right.
And so honoring that kind of mask and reaching out for something
was almost a political statement, as well as just a celebration.
Exactly. So now we've got, a celebration of a new year and harvest and of the dead and of, the poor and praying for the rich. We've got all of these things. And then we get to America, and right before all the world wars began.
So right before World War I, so early 20th century.
Yeah. So Great Depression was before World War II, right?
Yes. After World War I, before World War II. Yes.
After World War I, we saw, kind of that melding occurring, right? Because all of these different nationalities were coming together in America and mixing their face, and it was kind of coming together.
Before World War I, we saw the biggest
right.
move in around the turn of the century.
But now we're seeing second century is what I'm, or not second century,
like a
second generation
movement. Oh, second generation.
We're seeing people
in the United States
born, being raised.
So they're starting to develop their own traditions within the old traditions and developing new traditions.
Right, exactly. And Halloween kind of came to a stop during World War II and during the Great Depression. Specifically during the Great Depression, because sugar was such a rare commodity. There was nothing for people to hand out, and there really wasn't any excess cloth, or like everything was seen as
excess.
Anything
that wasn't required or like necessary was excess.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what started happening then is we saw less treat and we saw more trick. We saw more pranks coming about around the Halloween time to kind of take that place. More rebellion, more mischief kind of coming into play. And individual communities really worried about that because some of these things were getting so bad, they were going to outlaw Halloween.
Oh, wow.
And then right as at the end of the Great Depression, as we were going into World War II, a widespread adaptation of organized community trick-or-treating began in order to kind of wrangle in the pranks, right? So we're getting out of the Great Depression. We're going into a boom. We're going into a war. Now we have things. Now we have access to, sugars and all that kind of stuff. And manufacturers begin producing candy on
then it's commercialization. Then it's let's push this thing so we can sell.
Right.
We can sell more shit.
So we've gone from sugar rationing to now these individuals who underwent the Great Depression now having this kind of like sugar boom.
Well, they have excess. Now they grew up having nothing, and now they're able to have everything they want.
So trick-or-treating
into the 40s and 50s
in how we know it now really boomed after World War II. When all of the baby boomers were born and grew up under this tradition of candy and pumpkins and witches and mummies that were kind of melded from all of these things over thousands of years, brought by people colonizing in America and then suppressed by the Great Depression and then super fucking commercialized into a $6 billion a year industry.
Damn. I know I spend more money around Halloween than probably the rest of the year. It almost rivals Christmas normally. We spend a lot of money on Halloween.
It's the second largest holiday of the year in terms of like spending, right? So we spend a ton of money on Halloween. I mean, we spent basically like a fear-based vacation.
Yeah.
Because it was Halloween time.
That's right.
And that's what you do, you know, like you
That's
go and
true.
do these haunted things. So really, if you had this fear, it would be so tough.
Because we love this. We love Halloween.
We are philiacs.
We're philiacs. We're Samhainophiliacs. And I know many of you are as well, because you're listening to this podcast, and I'm sure a lot of you love horror movies and you love Halloween because of it's so full of like it's everything that as an adult you don't get to do
exactly
very often. Dress up, do the I know there's a lot of cosplayers out there that maybe do this all year round and things like that, but I don't dress up like this except for around Halloween, and I love
those
it.
Occasional nights.
It's every now and then I like to dress up. I just got some scrubs from working in the OR this week. Oh, I was working in the operating room
paging Dr. Love
at UCSF.
Love. I know.
This week. So I was like, do I bring the scrubs home, honey? She's like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you bring the scrubs home. You do that.
I'll slip those on after we're done here.
So if you were, let's say, very faithful to a particular religion or belief system that strongly opposed some of the roots of Halloween and where it came from and some of the tradition roots and, that kind of thing, it would be possible to actually create kind of a phobic reaction to anything associated with Halloween.
So let me speak to that real quick. So growing up, obviously I grew up conservative Christian, went to Bible school. I have this background, right? So growing up, my parents never had any problem with Halloween. We just, they celebrated Halloween. I celebrated Halloween. It was never an issue. Modern kind of evangelicals, somewhere along the line, I don't know if it was during the Satanic Panic in the 80s, which would be my guess, somewhere in that era.
Wasn't that the era that also like checking candy for poison and all that stuff. So yeah,
it just the whole Satanic Panic thing really kind of and we went from kind of the church didn't really have any issue with anything like this. It was just kind of like, oh, it's a fun festival and it was a thing that we do. We dress up and whatever. To the now all of a sudden the churches were like, we need to ban Halloween. Satan. You're worshiping Satan and this is demons and this is blah 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 blah, whatever it might be. And to be honest, it's all just so silly. Like it's so silly. There's nothing that would prevent a Christian from celebrating Halloween. It's a time of fun. It's a time of
it's a festival.
And even the darker side of it is you can always there's always a time to kind of recognize that there is a darker side to everything, right? There's a light and a dark. And so I've always seen it that way as being a time to kind of balance those light and dark things. And the other thing is, it just slipped my mind. What was it? What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. What was it, Chris?
I don't know. I failed mind reading.
Damn it. It went away.
We don't get that certification.
Shit. Oh, well, I can't remember what it was. I might remember it when you...
Christianity, modern day evangelicals.
Yeah, I mean, it just really turned into... Well, okay, and then you also had the... I know where I was going to go with that.
Gotcha.
Got it back.
I got you, babe.
Well done. Thanks, honey. Then you also had, at the same time, you had like the Ouija board stuff.
Oh yeah,
where
you can
it was
summon
like,
a demon from
and Dungeons and Dragons was worshiping Satan.
How funny is that
and all that kind of shit.
How nowadays D&D is still just like
it's just a game. It's a game. It's a game. And anything mystical, like even things like Harry Potter, right? We saw the Harry Potter stuff. We saw the Lord of the Rings stuff. All that stuff was just asinine. And honestly, like.
It was hysteria.
It's very much hysteria, and it has very little to do with actual Christian theology or Christian teaching.
Speaking of which,
the Bible does talk about light and dark things, and thinking of kind of surrounding yourself with light as opposed to dark. But it also
doesn't say not to deny the dark.
Yeah, it also doesn't say anything about like not recognizing those things or
like,
kind of
this is a thing.
And I think one time a year to kind of celebrate the fact that there is these different things. And honestly, if you don't want to do the devil, don't do the devil. Do something else.
Right.
I've never dressed up as a devil. I think that's kind of, it weirds me out a little bit. But do you? It doesn't mean you're worshiping Satan because you're celebrating Halloween, people. Get with it. But I can see
box done.
So when you've grown up and you've been kind of indoctrinated with this idea that anything related to Halloween is evil, I can see where that would be a major issue, right?
I don't know what you would do during the month of October because there's just so many
fall
things.
Festivals, Chris. You do fall festivals at your church.
Like just anything.
Every church has a fall festival.
That's true.
A Halloween alternative.
That's true.
Which
I don't know. There's something about when you're undergoing a crisis of faith that you do run an increased risk of really kind of having a phobic reaction to this specific holiday and things associated with it.
Well, because it's everywhere. And so if it's something where you could really genuinely believe that this is like an evil holiday,
well, or if
then you would have that.
If you're someone too that really feels strongly about the spirit side of the world, it could be a very scary holiday because of the potential of inviting something demonic or doing something accidentally. Be even kind of a lot of these movies are based on naivety.
Sure, the Ouija board thing is part of that, right? Like the concept that if you do a Ouija board, you might open yourself up to conjuring something that is not. And I'm not going to say I disagree. I've never done a Ouija board. I've always felt like
sat down at Billy's party that year and lasted about 3 seconds and went, no, I don't even want to even. No, I'm good.
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
And there's certain things. There's certain things that I don't. If you believe in the supernatural, if you believe that there is, if you're theistic or whatever, then I'm not going to go to a spiritualist. I'm not going to go to a gypsy. I'm not going to go to sorry, I can't call them gypsies anymore. I'm not going to go to somebody reading a psychic reading. I don't do tarot. That kind of stuff. I'm not going to do it. That's not on my list of like things that I'm interested in doing because and it's not that I necessarily believe that they will hold any spiritual power, but there is that thing in the back of my mind that goes, what if? So
same reason.
I get that. Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Same reason.
Maybe it's superstition, but
same reason I don't dabble in that stuff. Like,
I don't dabble in the dark arts.
No,
many of you may, and your auras are all black.
But I think it's fun for the rest of us. It's really fun to kind of play those darker roles or sluttier roles, whatever.
Slutty fill in the blank.
Slutty fill in the blank roles. Like I'm always on the side of I err on the side of funny, and Drew really likes me to err on the side of
showing off your boobies
of slutty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but I want to be a wacky, waitable, inflatable, flailing tube man.
You can be whatever you want to be.
No, I want to be a shark attack victim. And the shark is eating me alive and I made it and it's 8 feet tall and I can't get through doorways and help me be.
That's just really cool. But you got to have both. What you should is start out with the funny costume and then reveal the slutty costume. That's the way to do it. Maybe.
Best way to do it. Something. Yeah.
I think that's the way to go.
Switching costumes is definitely that's good. That's going to happen this year. So
I like it.
But if you suffer from this phobia, modern traditions like jump scares would be really tough. Like going to Universal would not be a thing.
And that might be part of it too. So it's not always just related to like the spiritual side of it,
or spiders, or tombstones.
It could be
any of that.
It could be a lot of the things that are just represented in Halloween. Ghosts and spiders and
you
whatever.
You could hate Halloween because you are deathly afraid of clowns,
or afraid of being scared,
or afraid of being startled. If you have post-traumatic symptoms. Halloween could be really challenging because the startle reflex is kind of like the back pocket, cards that everyone plays at Halloween. That's the thing. The jump scares.
You never know what you're going to find. Somebody may come to your door dressed as like an army guy or like whatever.
Something might
trigger.
Something might like kind of activate that fight or flight response, like overactivate it. So it would be really tough, and it would be really tough to watch our 2 movies or our 2 anthologies.
It would. They are very Halloween centric and they're really good. I love both of these so much. And you could have done we could have done Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween. We could have done Hocus Pocus. We could have done I'm trying to think of all the movies that are set around Halloween. Terrifier set around Halloween.
Yeah.
There's so many movies. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch would have been great. 6 more days till Halloween. I thought about doing that one. I actually really thought about doing that one because that one's been. I really do enjoy that one, even though it's so maligned by so many. But we could have done a lot of movies, and I was like, well, what movies, like, to me, give you the most Halloween for your buck? And I was like, well, these anthologies do. They do. Trick or Treat and Tales of Halloween.
Because instead of one story, you're getting 10 and 5.
We're getting 15 different stories in these 2 movies. With these anthologies, and they're great. They're really well done, and they're a lot of fun. So let's. Are you ready to jump in? Let's go and talk about the more recent one, which is 2015's Tales of Halloween.
Every year on Halloween, this town goes batshit crazy.
Trick or treat.
Have the slightest idea what you're dealing with.
Tales of Halloween. This is Halloween.
Tons of fun.
I got that stuck in my head. Tales of Halloween 2015. It is a anthology with. I smack my lips too much. It's really bothering me.
That's what it's with? That's what this anthology
is. This anthology is about smacking my lips. And I apologize to everyone that has to listen to me smack my lips.
You need some
I need to learn to enunciate better without smacking my lips. I think it's a nervous habit. So I apologize. But it has nothing to do with Tales of Halloween. I just noticed me doing it just a second ago and it bothered me.
Be more intentional with your lip smack.
I'm going to work on being more intentional with my diction.
Diction.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Be real intentional with your diction. Go for it, honey.
So Tales of Halloween is 10 stories from 10 different directors, basically taking place in a suburban American town, kind of like our feature presentation, right? Kind of like Trick or Treat does it a little bit differently though. Definitely gives 10 unique, different stories from 10 different directors' perspectives. And so that's really fun. I really like that.
Yeah, they go quickly.
One thing I will say right off the bat, we totally recommend both these movies.
Go watch them now.
Tales of Halloween. It's so much fun. These are must watches for me around the Halloween
time. And I had never seen it before this morning. So
I know a lot of you guys are doing like the 31 days of horror movies and watching a horror movie a day and that kind of stuff. If Tales of Halloween and Trick or Treat are not on your list, what's wrong with you? I mean, get with it. These are Halloween, like they are all Halloween all the time.
Let us introduce you to goodness then. Go and watch those. Add them to your list immediately.
And watch them before we spoil them because we spoil everything.
Yep, we're going to spoil it now.
So we've got this. It starts out with a DJ, with like a radio DJ. And it's Adrienne Barbeau, which is awesome, from The Fog and everything else that she's done, which is incredible. And she's kind of like, it's the night of the ghouls and the aliens and the killers, that kind of thing of doing the whole radio DJ,
right.
Creepy, addition to, and she comes up throughout the whole anthology, right? She doesn't talk after every single one, but like every third or fourth one, she has a little mini monologue, right? Where she's kind of weaving in and out of these stories as the commentator. And so we have we have her kicking it off, and then we dive into like our first feature. By the way, this was produced by Axel Caroline and Mark Mendez, I believe. You'll recognize Axel Caroline from she was the creator. I think she's creator of Sabrina, the new Sabrina series. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's done some really cool shit. And then Mark Mendez has done, let me see what I put him down for. I didn't write down what he did. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's been involved in a lot of cool things. I just heard him interviewed on Mick Garris's podcast that I listened to.
Mickle Garrison?
Mickle Garrison's podcast, who, by the way, also makes a cameo in Tales of Halloween.
Yeah, in the 10th episode, right?
No, actually one of the earlier ones, like the third one.
Oh, that's right.
So we start off with one of my favorites, and I'm not going to recap every single one of them and I did write down notes on every one of them, but I think just for the sake of time, and you guys can all be surprised when you watch them, so you don't know all of them if you haven't seen them.
We'll just do some highlights.
But the first one is one of my favorites.
Sweet Tooth?
For sure. And I think it's I would love to see a feature that was spun off of this, just called Sweet Tooth. I think it would be a great character, like a fun, fucking creepy ass Halloween character.
The Krampus of Hallows Eve.
Yeah. So the concept is, we've got this kid, Mikey, right? And he's chowing down on his candy, and his baby
likes it.
Mikey likes it. And his babysitter and her douchebag boyfriend tell him this story of this kid. Is it Timmy?
It doesn't matter.
His name's something like Timmy Blake, I think is his name, who, 50 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever. Actually, it kind of looked like it was back in the 80s. The kid loved to trick or treat. But when he would bring his candy home, his parents wouldn't let him eat any of it. And they would just send him to bed.
They'd send him to bed, and they would just gorge on his
chocolate. They would go into this gluttonous candy orgy where they just eat all of his candy and like do some banging and eat some more candy until it was all gone.
That's so sad.
And so this inspires you to say, you know what? Fuck them up, Timmy. Like,
fuck them up, Tim.
Fuck them up. Go take them out. Timmy. I hope it's Timmy. I wrote down Timmy, but
Timmy. I wrote Timmy.
Oh, you wrote Timmy too?
I said they got all sexy and sweet, and little Timmy didn't approve.
That could just be generic Timmy, though, because it's like kind of the word that
That's true. Like,
little Tommy,
little
Timmy, little Johnny,
little Billy.
So when they're passed out, Timmy goes a little batshit on him, and he kills his parents with a meat cleaver,
dude,
and then starts eating all the candy. And then once he runs out of candy, he realizes there's more candy in their bellies. So he opens them up, cuts open their bellies, and eats all the candy out of their bellies as well.
Because M&Ms don't melt in your body cavity.
He's probably just
they melt in your mouth.
He's just scooping it out.
They melt in your mouth, not in your body cavity.
So, of course, then we flash back forward again to Mikey and the babysitter and douchebag
doing the same thing.
Douchebag boyfriend
binged on candy.
And so he's told them that what happens was that now every single Halloween, if you don't leave some candy out for Sweet Tooth, who is little Timmy, then
he will fuck your world.
He's gonna kill you and everybody around you. So little Mikey goes to bed, and he wakes up to his babysitter and her boyfriend had eaten all of his candy, and Sweet Tooth had come and disemboweled them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're laying on the couch all disemboweled.
Really interesting kills.
And then, Yeah. And then his parents come home
Mhm.
and he's just standing there going,
I didn't do it.
they ate all my candy. And that was it.
That was badass. No, you forgot the part where he left a candy bar out for Sweet Tooth.
Oh, he
And
did.
Sweet
When he
Tooth
went to
came
bed.
up and grabbed it.
When he went to bed, he left his candy bar
And so
out. So
Sweet
he
Tooth-
was protected.
Yeah.
While the other two ate all of the rest of his candy.
But now,
And sister was like, oh, we're going to have to go buy him some more candy.
now he's in jail for a felony.
You got really distracted there with that.
There's a mosquito probably eating me. That just fed on me. Bastard.
I just killed one in the shower earlier.
What the fuck?
That was like this big. That was like this big. It was so huge. It was crazy.
Sorry.
It looked like it had like caught a plane from Florida.
Speaking of blood-sucking vampires, jeez.
Also, cameo from Caroline Williams plays Mrs. Blake, the mom of the original, kid, original Sweet Tooth, who eats all the candy and goes into her candy orgy. Which I would watch her do a candy orgy any day. She's like pushing 7. She's like in her 60s, I'm pretty sure. And she like is on her Instagram like posing naked all the time. And I approve because she is still smoking hot.
Yeah, man.
She was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. She's awesome. She's been in a lot of shit. So Caroline Williams has a cameo in that one. Then we go to story number 2, which is The Night Billy Raised Hell, which was directed by Saw 2 and 3 director and also Repo the Genetic Opera, which is a really fun movie.
My favorite, I think, tale of Halloween.
What's that?
Was this one, The Night Billy Raised
Oh, this is your favorite one?
I
this
feel
one's
like
pretty cool.
It's really fun.
I really like this one too. And it's so basically these I wasn't going to totally recap this one, but did I just call Siri?
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you please repeat what you said?
Shut up, Siri.
I didn't talk to you, Siri. Go away.
Okay.
Good, bitch.
Oh.
I don't like Siri. She's always popping up when she's not supposed to, sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. I don't like it.
She doesn't have a nose.
You don't know that.
I don't know.
So anyways, this kid, Billy, I love these. We got these great names. Billy, Timmy, Mikey. Billy is basically being introduced to like tricks from his sister's like friend or boyfriend or something. And he's going to go play a trick on this guy's house who never puts out candy. And he goes up to the door. I think he's going to egg it or something. And the owner of the house, Mr. Abaddon, comes out and grabs the egg and like plants it in the back of the head of the boyfriend.
Bless you.
Ooh, we got all kinds of fun interruptions. So then this guy takes Billy inside and says, "I'm going to teach you how to really play a trick," And then we see Mr. Abaddon and Billy's dressed up like a devil, and Mr. Abaddon and this little devil, and they go around town doing some fucked up shit.
Well, and Mr. Abaddon has, devil's horns too. And he's like this sultry, smooth, like talking.
Yeah, you get the sense that he is the devil.
Right.
That's what you get. And I think they show it at the end, kind of, that he is the devil. So
they do some evil shit.
They call him Mordecai.
They stab a lame dentist in the nards.
Well, sorry, Mordecai was never mind. Mr. Abaddon is the devil. So they stab a dentist in the leg.
I thought it was in the nards.
Oh, maybe it was in the nards. I don't know. Could have been in the nards. Let's say it's in the nards. It was probably in the nards. Let's say it's in the nards.
Yeah.
That's a lot more fun of a scene to get stabbed in the nards.
In the nards.
But the dentist was giving out toothbrushes, so fuck him. He had it coming.
You asked for it.
I'm sorry, but anybody who's giving out fruit or toothbrushes, go fuck yourself.
I mean, I get it. But
no, I don't get it. Go fuck yourself. Don't even try to defend that. Okay. If you're giving out packets of raisins, if you're giving out salads,
mini salads,
people give out mini salads.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I would trick or treat for that now because I need those.
That's the adult tricker. One for you and one that is gluten-free and cholesterol-friendly for you.
Yeah. No, if you're giving out any of that shit, toothbrushes, raisins, what else? What else we got there?
Peanut candies, like the circus peanut actual
circus peanuts. Candies? I'm sure some people like circus peanuts, but yeah, I mean, you know what it is. At least that's candy.
Those were all made in like 1920. They just keep recirculating.
you're a dick. So anyway, so Billy starts, the devil's taking him around. And they're playing pranks on all these people. And they're doing some gnarly shit.
Lots
They're lighting shit on fire.
Lots of graffiti.
And do some very damaging stuff and hurt some people.
They shit in a bag and then lit it on fire and then put the shit bag on fire in a bear trap.
Oh, in a bear trap. Yeah. So when you stamp out the fire, you got the bear trap.
So then
that's a good trick.
Trapped in a bear trap on fire, covered in shit.
That's a good trap. It's a good trick. It's a good trap. The trap is a good trick.
Terrible.
So, anyways, what we find out in the end, we
find out Billy's mom is hot.
Oh, we knew that too. Billy's mom always dresses like a slut for Halloween. Which good on her. That's what you're supposed to do. That is the protocol. I'm a traditionalist.
I want to see the SOP for that.
So Mr. Abaddon, the devil, takes Billy and he takes him back home to the house, and they walk inside the door, and then we see the real Billy is chained up, strapped up against the chair. So it wasn't him that was doing all of these things.
It was Satan and his son.
It was Mordecai, this little demon guy that he had that was doing all the tricking. And the kid's like, I thought you were going to teach me how to do tricks. And he's like, I just did. And then they sent him home, and the cops are waiting for him, obviously, because
they don't just send him home. He creepy licks his lip talking about how when he goes off to prison, his mom's going to be super lonely.
His mom's going to be all lonely.
I'd like to lick her fava beans with a nice Chianti.
Fun fact in that one, the devil was played by Brian. Was it Brian? Is it Brian? Barry Bostwick. Barry Bostwick, who was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and also in Seinfeld and a bunch of other cool things. So that was fun. We'll skip a couple of these here. We got the next one was called Trick by Adam Garish, who did the Night of the Demons 2009 remake, which was fun. That one was really interesting. The end of that one is a twist where you find out that the people are like fucking psychopaths. After these kids are like all fucking attacking them, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? Why are these kids attacking these people? And then at the end you realize they have been like torturing and killing children. So that one actually always stuck out in my head of all of these for some reason. I don't know why. So I do like that one. It's really good. Next one's called The Weak and the Wicked by Paul Soleil, who was the director of Grace, which was about a baby who was born that needed blood. It was like a little vampire baby. It was like, I've never seen it, but it's on my list of ones that I've heard is really good. And we won't even go over that one. Let's see. Let's go down here a little bit. Basically, all of them are pretty fucking good.
Dude, I like Ding Dong because it's like this wife can't have children. And is she a monster or not a monster? And every Halloween,
I don't think she's a real monster. I think
it's in him.
I think it's just in him that he's seeing it because she's an abuser and a giant bitch.
She domestically abuses the shit out of him. Like, it is disturbing.
And she wants a baby, but she's not getting pregnant.
She goes off the fucking deep end.
And then every Halloween, she's seeing all these kids, and she just is like, plays this like Hansel and Gretel kind of game with the kids. And this little kid comes who's by himself, and you can tell she's gonna like kidnap the kid.
Yeah, she's gonna fucking.
And the husband's like, no, where's the mom? Over here, hey. Kid's over here, come get him. And then after that, she's like, what the hell? Like, like getting pissed off at him again. And he tells her that he's gotten a vasectomy.
Oh, vasectomy bomb.
Boom. And she's like, what the fuck? Because we've been trying to have kids.
And he's like, no, I don't want to have a child with you.
And then she ends up putting him in the oven
with you.
Hansel and Gretel style.
I know. That was a good one.
She shoves him in the oven. It was a good one. So yeah, again, a lot of these are really fucking cool. The Friday the 31st one that Mark Mendez did with the little mini alien, the little alien pumpkin guy.
The alien pumpkin guy is my favorite.
I want one of those.
I can paint him statue on a pumpkin.
That would be cool
year if you want.
And then we end with this killer pumpkin one, which was fun.
Bad seed.
Yeah, so we find out that this killer pumpkin has been
genetically modified
by a company called Clover Corp. It's very Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Much. We've got these. We find out that this company has created all of this whole huge warehouse full of killer pumpkins. And there's so many nods to John Carpenter in this episode too.
Halloween, the very Halloween sounding soundtrack.
The music, yeah, there's music. There's John Carpenter esque music playing. You can totally get that Halloween vibe. Point of the story: Tales of Halloween. Super, super fucking fun. Also, look for like cameos in this because there's cameos from John Landis. Actually, John Landis actually has a big part. Joe Dante,
Mikkel Garris,
Adam Green, Mikkel Garrison, Mick Garris, Rebecca McKendry. If you listen to the Shockwaves podcast, she has a part in this. Carolyn Williams that we already talked about, Barry Bostwick, Dana Gould, who was the creator of Stand Against Evil, the comedian was in all kinds of stuff.
He was in this.
He was a Saturday Night Live writer as well. Felissa Rose has a cameo.
Mangled Dick expert Felissa Rose.
Mangled Dick expert Felissa Rose has a cameo as well. Lynn Shay is in it. Barbara Crampton is in it. Stuart Gordon from the Reanimator director and all those movies. So lots of cool cameos in this too, which make it even more fun. I love that shit when you see people in the background or you see people just randomly.
It was a good time.
Really, really fun stuff.
It's like a horror robot chicken.
It's
like
it's good.
Really, like as soon as you get into it, like it changes again.
Yeah, it moves to a new one. They're quick. So it's only like an hour and a half long, but there's 10 episodes.
Right.
Or 10, whatever. So, and they're all great little shorts. They're just so much fun. Check it out. It's available streaming on a lot of platforms too. So like if you have Roku and stuff, if you look it up, it's available.
I think it was
free.
Amazon, Vudu had it for free.
I think it was Tubi actually. I think it was Tubi and Amazon both had it for free.
Rent it for free, you cheap fucks.
Yeah, or rent it for $2.99. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Let's move on to another Halloween anthology, the king of all, I believe, Halloween anthologies. My favorite, and I think it's become a cult classic that is just going to last forever. And if you walk into Spirit Halloween, you can see that it's become
a little bit of an impact.
It's become a fucking mainstream, like successful franchise, which is super cool. I'm glad it has.
People know me.
People know Sam. So let's talk about 2007's Trick or Treat, our feature presentation.
And now our feature presentation.
This is the one night.
Don't forget your costume.
All sorts of things roam free.
The Halloween School Bus Massacre.
Be quiet.
Why?
You'll bother the neighbors.
Okay.
Wait. There's another tradition. Always check your candy.
We have to get out of here. Weird voices. Lucas! Over here!
You gotta be kidding me.
I hate Halloween.
Feature presentation today, Trick or Treat. Super excited about covering this one. Trick or Treat. Our treat. Directed and written by Michael Dougherty, who also directed Krampus. The most recent Krampus movie of 2015.
My favorite.
And the new Godzilla movie that just came out. He did that big budget Godzilla movie.
Oh, it's Godzilla.
That was super racist.
No, that was from Godzilla.
Masking your racism with realism.
No, but like, it's definitely a quote in Godzilla.
Quote.
The direct quote.
Interesting about this movie that I did not know until I got the DVD, not the Blu-ray, because I found the DVD cheaper and picked it up. So I don't have an extensive Blu-ray collection because I still really struggle paying like $40 for like a box set or like a steel book or whatever. But they have the short film that he created the movie from called Season's Greetings. So he created this short film that was animated called Season's Greetings, where we meet Sam. And he goes through and talks about the process and how he created it. It's just this cool little short film with this little Sam cruising around, which was the basis for the movie, where his character from the movie.
Hand drawn and colored art.
Yeah, colored with and he actually colored with marker, which I thought was really interesting too.
Fascinating.
And it's a fun little flick. So if you get a chance to check it out, I'm sure it's on YouTube or if you have the DVD, go on the special features and it'll be there. But let me give a quick synopsis of this fun little festive Halloween flick. A creepy, darkly comic celebration of the scariest night of the year from director Michael Dougherty. Trick or Treat takes the creep show Tales from the Crypt approach to nefarious new depths with 4 interwoven tales set on Halloween night. A high school principal moonlights as a vicious serial killer. The quest of a young virgin for that special someone takes a gruesome turn. A group of teens carries out a cruel prank with disastrous consequences. And a cantankerous old man battles a mischievous trick-or-treating demon.
Some good stuff.
Really good stuff. I would actually argue that there's 5 tales because if you include the intro and the end where you have the story of the couple, but I guess it's not quite as like interwoven. It's kind of the bookends, I guess. Yeah. Some pretty good named, fairly big named cast members in this. Dylan Baker, who plays Mr. Wilkins, the principal, that guy's been in a shit ton of stuff. Character actor that's done tons of movies, tons of TV. Really recognizable. You would definitely recognize him right away if you saw him. Anna Paquin, of course, is probably the biggest like name, like modern star name, I guess. She plays Lori, and she she won an Oscar at 11 years old.
No.
Yeah, Anna Paquin won an Oscar at 11 years old for Best Supporting Actress in The Piano.
Oh, that's neat. That's a fun fact.
Yeah. She was. I think
this is her.
She knocked that Oscar. She knocked that Oscar shit out super early.
Yeah, right.
And of course she was Suki Stackhouse.
Oh, I love it when you talk like that.
Suki, come on, Suki.
I'm all soogie in my pants now.
Suki.
Soogie soggy.
Suki soggy.
Soogie soggy. Oi.
Suki soggy. In True Blood, she was Sookie Stackhouse. And then she was Rogue in the X-Men movies as well. So she's done a lot of cool shit. Brian Cox, who played Mr. Krieg, which was the next door neighbor to the principal in the movie. He's been in tons of dramatic roles, he's done like any Irish or Scottish movie he's always in. But he was also the dad in my favorite baseball movie, The Rookie. He was Dennis Quaid's dad. He played Jimmy Morris Sr. in that movie. And then Leslie Bibb, who played Emma, the chick in the beginning and the end. She's been in The League. She's been in a lot of cool comedy stuff. She's a great what's the word I'm looking for? Improv type show person. She was also in Talladega Nights as well.
I really enjoyed her role in The League as the girlfriend who really likes to put a finger up her boyfriend's
Mark Duplass's butt.
Yeah, up Duplass' brother's butt.
Hey, you know what? Every now and then you just got to sneak a little finger back there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just taking a finger every now and then, just to spice things up a little bit. Not a problem. Just deal with it, boys. Stop being so closed off.
Especially if she's that hot, I kind of have to agree.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
come on, deal with it.
It's okay. You'll be okay, pumpkin.
So basically, I feel like we're looking at 5 stories is the way I put it. So, and they all take place in the fictional town of, what was the fictional town's name?
Derry, Maine.
Not Derry, Maine.
I don't know.
Warren Valley, Ohio. The fictional town of Warren Valley, Ohio. So all of these interwoven tales are all in this one town. And we start out with Emma, Leslie Bibb, finger butthole, we'll call her. We don't want to call her that. And her husband, you'd have to see the League episode to get that reference, but coming back from a costume party, and husband goes upstairs.
And she's a sex robot.
You think she's a sex robot?
Sex robot. I want to be that for Halloween so bad.
Was that from Kids in the Hall?
Kids in the Hall.
That was a Kids in the Hall sketch, huh?
Yeah.
Sex robot.
No, I have to look it
I'm
up.
pretty sure it was a Kids in the Hall skit.
But I really want
or the guys from Kids in the Hall. I'm pretty positive. You wanted to be sex robot for Halloween. I was going to do that last year. Actually, wasn't it last year we talked about that? We are really getting sidetracked by.
Keep going.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll keep going. So her husband.
It's the whitest kids you know.
Oh, the whitest kids you know. That's right.
Okay. Anyways.
So yeah, they come back. Husband is definitely more into Halloween than she is, because she's like, I want to get all these fucking decorations out of here. Let's get them cleaned up, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I just want to go bone. And she's like, and then she's like,
go
upstairs and put on the tape. So he goes upstairs and puts on some porn and passes out and lays down on the bed, and Emma's cleaning up the decorations. Well, Sam across the street, we're introduced. We don't see him yet in the beginning. But all that we know is that Emma doesn't come to bed. She doesn't come up and bow chicka bow bow with her husband.
Brown chicken, brown
cow. Because he wakes up and he's like, where the fuck is Emma? And he's got like some leather gimp mask or something on his face.
I didn't notice
and he
that.
tosses it to the side, some leather something, and comes downstairs and looks for her, can't find her, and then picks up one of the sheets of one of their decorations, and she's skewered on top of a cross with her head and like something shoved in her mouth, and it's all gnarly. So that's where we start the movie. That's our kickoff. And then we meet
the principal,
local boy.
Oh,
this young boy who he's a chunky little kid. Same kid from Bad Santa and Sandlot 2, actually. And he's knocking pumpkins off and breaking shit.
It's not that you made it about him being chubby. It's not that he's chubby. It's that he's a shit starter.
Oh, come on. He's got that like chubby. I'm gonna eat all the candy.
It's implying that he's kind of recklessly gluttonous.
Yes, that he's the shove all the candy in my mouth kid. But he's also stealing candy from other kids.
Exactly.
And he's busting pumpkins up and all that shit. So
he
gets to Mr. Wilkins' house, who's the local principal, and Mr. Wilkins has one of the, like Wilson.
Yeah.
Has one of those bowls that says, take one. And of course our kid, grabs the handfuls and starts filling up his bag. And Mr. Wilkins catches him. Right. So they sit down. It looks like they're going to have like a heart to heart.
Yeah.
And, he gives him
an episode of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Gives him some candy.
Here you go, buddy.
Here you go, bud. Have some candy. It's cool.
It's not good for your diabetes.
And then this kid.
He wants a root beer?
And he starts puking. Vomiting, like violently vomiting.
It's pretty bad.
He has been poisoned by Mr. Wilkins, the principal, who then drags his body into the house, where we see that he has laced these candies with cyanide. And
that's terrifying.
Yeah. And then he drags his body out to the backyard where he already has a grave with other kids in it, or at least one other kid.
He's the principal. He was trying to make his school a better place.
Yeah, he's getting rid of all the little pricks.
What a prick.
And he decapitates the kid and tosses the body in, and we find out he has a son. Dad, when are you gonna, blah blah blah, and he says, well, go watch Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown's a dick or something like that.
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
Oh, Charlie Brown's an asshole is what the kid says. You know, when are we going to carve? That's what you wanted to carve pumpkins. When are we going to carve the pumpkin? Or when are we going to carve? You say the pumpkins?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. When are we going to carve the pumpkins? So then later on, we find out Mr. Wilkins, you know, we think Mr. Wilkins is going to go kill his son because he's like getting all like,
he's kind of ominous.
like
Yeah.
gets, you know, all pissed off.
What, like a parent who's annoyed by a child that keeps fucking asking them every 2 seconds?
Well, it turns out serial killing is the family business because he brings downstairs and we think they're going to carve the pumpkin. And then we also think he's going to stab his son in the head. And he goes down and like the knife hits and we realize it's the boy's head. So they're actually carving up the boy's head for Halloween, not a pumpkin. Fun, good-hearted, fun story.
Fun, interesting fact. This is actually kind of one of the few horror movies that decided to actually show the death of a child. Not like a child's alive, look away, a child's dead. Like actually show
which is one
a
of
child
the
dying.
Fucking great things about it. It's got enough
bold.
gore. It's got some good gore. It takes everything a little bit farther than
it should,
which is great. So then we're introduced to Bitchy Girl and her friends.
Oh my gosh, I hate her so much.
They're going around and collecting all these pumpkins, and they're making up some.
She's dressed as an angel, which that's irony at its best.
She's not an angel,
but you know
she's a what do you call it? Capital CUNT.
Oh yeah, she's a Cody, spelled with a CUNT.
Oh, but a bad Cody, not a good Cody.
No, a bad Cody. That's why I said spelled with a CUNT. But she is not a nice human being, and she's lying and being manipulative, and
so she's got a crew that she's cruising around with, and they get all these pumpkins and stuff, and then she goes and picks up this girl, Rhonda, and Rhonda she's autistic. She's on the spectrum for sure.
But she's carved all these.
But she's smart
pumpkins.
as shit, and she's artistic, and she's interesting,
and she's very caring too.
Yeah, absolutely. She's super, super cool. And she's all dressed up for Halloween.
Basically, this bitch is a bitch for treating Rhonda the way that she does.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So then we get this story, right? We're walking, and little bitch girl starts telling the story of these kids from Halloween past,
and they were special kids who were.
They all had issues. They were all mentally handicapped in some way, or on the spectrum, or whatever,
or had criminal histories, or tendencies, or behavior problems.
I didn't even get that. Where'd you get that?
I did, because he was talking about how the community was so kind of put off by them that they bused them on a special bus.
I don't think it had to do with criminal. I think it was just that they were a bunch of meanies who didn't like the handicapped kids.
Why were they all chained up then?
Because he wanted to keep them in the bus so that they could drown and they wouldn't be able to get out.
Maybe
he chained them to their seat. He put the chains on. The bus driver did.
Gotcha.
So anyways, he tells a story of this bus driver who got these kids, and the parents of these kids basically want to get rid of them, and they want this bus driver to do it for them.
Which is terrible.
They pay him to do it, and he chains them into the bus, and they're all wearing their Halloween masks, and gives them some candy. And then he's going to drive the bus off the cliff and jump out to save himself and just let the kids die in a rock quarry, off a cliff into a big rock quarry, and they're going to sink down and die. Well, things don't go quite as planned. Bus driver ends up getting thrown into the quarry with the kids on the bus, but
he survives.
He survives, and they all die. Mm. So flashback to...
That was a really hard scene to watch. And when the boys were watching it, they were so disturbed that someone would even think about hurting someone with special needs. Like they were so pissed off about that. They were like, I cannot believe that anyone would do that to someone.
It's because we've raised our children right.
Yeah, what happened to us?
So so then we flash back to this group of kids, and they're going to go the whole point is they're going to go put pumpkins out onto the water at the quarry. This is what they tell Rhonda, to kind of sacrifice these pumpkins to the kids. So
as like an homage,
as like an honor, in honor of them, or to make sure they don't, hurt them or whatever. And then Rhonda gives us based on our phobia, she gives us a really good quick description of what Samhain is all about.
And she's also the one that corrected us on
That's
how
right.
the
on the pronunciation. We were like, wait, that's right. That's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
I was like, that was spelled way different than what she said.
Yeah. So she gives us this great recap.
You must really like Halloween.
You mean Samhain?
What?
Samhain, also known as All Hallows Eve, also known as Halloween. Predating Christianity, the Celtic holiday was celebrated on the one night between autumn and winter when the barrier between the living and the dead was thinnest, and often involved rituals that included human sacrifice. I like your eye patch.
I like your eye patch. That's how she ends it.
I love her. She's so sweet. And
so then a bunch of the kids go down to the quarry first. It's just weird, creepy elevator, which I don't know that should just be accessed by anybody. It seems
well, and I don't know if it's abandoned, why it would still be working, like in terms of electricity, but whatever.
Yeah, so they go down and they basically play this trick on her where she comes down and thinks that the evil kids have come up to kill her, and Rhonda gets all freaked out and scared and realizes it's all a big prank at the end. Fucking assholes, so mean. Well,
and everyone was in on it except for her.
Everyone was in on it but her, because they were just playing the trick on the poor girl that's on the spectrum. Super fucked up and not nice. Don't do shit like that. Be nice to people. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But not long after that, of course, the actual dead kids crawl out of the water and start going after all the other kids. And the autistic girl, or Rhonda, is in the elevator, and she has the key, and she doesn't let them in and goes, bye-bye, and starts going up the elevator, and the kids get left down at the bottom. Just watches them go. So
go Rhonda. And then we see
justice is served.
We see little mischievous Sam, who is kind of based on a deity, the deity of Samhain that we saw late in the 1st century.
Samhain.
Samhain. By the Irish bishop Cormac MacCulliman in the book Cormac's Narrative. He talked about the idea of Samhain as an actual deity of Halloween.
Interesting. And we see Sam pop up like
every time,
all over the place.
He's
right?
kind of the demonic enforcer.
Yeah, he's the enforcer. He's the thing that kind of, he pops up at various different times, very mischievous and kind of just in the background or just hanging out, with his little sucker and his little Halloween, get up and his burlap head. He
reminds me of a Sour Patch Kid.
Yeah, right.
First they're sweet, then they're sour.
So much.
However it goes.
So then we flash to our next story, which is the hot chick story, which had been and kind of, I think, had
hot chicks
mixed. Some of these stories had weaved in and out throughout. They're not just like all at once. They kind of a little bit of this story, then a little bit of that story. But the hot chick story is with Anna Paquin because she's a hot chick, so that works. And we start with them all getting dressed in their prerequisite, slutty fill in the blank costumes.
Yeah, this one it was slutty fairy tale characters.
Yeah, it was like a Little Red Riding Hood and
Cinderella,
Alice in Wonderland, and so they're all getting dressed in their little costumes. And we're led to believe that Anna Paquin is a virgin. And so they set out to find. They're all setting out to find dudes, to hang out with for the night and bang or whatever, or so we think. Yeah, and so we cut later, and they're trying to get Anna Paquin's character to find a dude. And she's just having the hardest time finding a guy. And they all go out to the forest and they're throwing this big old party. And Anna Paquin isn't there yet. She's trying to find a guy on her own and bring him to this party. And she hasn't shown up yet. And then we see her getting attacked by a masked man who we think might be a vampire because he's got vampire teeth and he's biting into people. And then all of a sudden we see that masked, we see her getting attacked. And then all of a sudden we see
a body,
the Red Riding Hood cloak get dropped out of a tree. And we think, Anna Paquin's been,
oh shit,
been killed. Right. Well, they go over and it's the vampire guy and they take the mask off and the teeth out. And it's actually the principal.
Damn.
So the principal has been going around and we figure out that he's like this serial killer that's just been going around, killing people. Well, he fucked with the wrong person, clearly. And he's messed up. He's fallen out of the tree He has broken his leg through the skin, which brings us to our favorite clip.
It's unnecessary.
Chris's compound fractures.
It's so unnecessary.
Oh, it's perfect. It's so good.
Reason we needed to put that in there.
So we see his leg broken, and then we see him like freaking out, like, what the hell is going on?
He looks around and all of the other men are dead.
Starts seeing other men, the other men dead, and then all we see is just like a sea of like lots of titties, but then
werewolf.
They peel their skin off. Peel it off in a really cool scene, actually. They like peel it off. Like just like they're taking off like a
no, it's like they're
piece of clothing.
bet it feels like they're like when you rip off your underwire bra after a long day and you just God, thank
and they
God,
all turn into these like
God.
badass werewolves.
Which did you know
full-blown werewolves?
Did you know the same company that created the werewolves also created the lichens from Underworld series?
Really?
Yeah, that's why they
in this movie?
Yeah.
Interesting. I like it.
That's why they look similar.
So that was a cool scene.
I love that one.
And then we get to our final story, which is our story of our next door neighbor, right? He lives next door to the serial killer. We were introduced to him. We were introduced to him in the serial killer little scenes, right? In the beginning, briefly, but he's like this crotchety, he's Mr. Krieg. He's a crotchety asshole. Definitely not a fan of Halloween. Has his dog chase kids away, steals their candy. Everything that's on TV when he's in there sitting in his lazy boy about Halloween is pissing him off. The guy just does not like the holiday, and he's just a crotchety old dick, And we see that he's, we go out and he goes out in the backyard because he hears a noise, and we see Mr. Wilkins is burying the bodies, which is a crossover from the scene we see in the middle, because all these everything just really intertwines. Fun. It's really fun in the way they do it, so they make it all kind of interweave together. But he hears another noise and he runs out front, and his whole front yard is full of pumpkins. The
pumpkins that Rhonda carved. You
think they're from Rhonda? I didn't get that. I think just Sam just set up
maybe
a bunch of pumpkins. I thought that a little bit too, because she had a bunch of
moved them.
I think Sam just made them show up, but it could have been
that makes
for
sense,
sure.
Though.
But his whole yard is covered. Either way, his whole yard's covered in pumpkins, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then Sam comes and pays him a visit. So the final like segment, or the final story, is really Sam versus Mr. Krieg in a death match, cage match to the death.
No, it was badass. And did you know that for the stunts, because really the actor primarily for Sam was 7-year-old Quinn, who also showed up in the hot girl scene when they're in the costume store. He was the peeping Tom monkey that was looking through the little thing.
Oh, that's funny.
That was the same.
One of the
Sam,
kids?
That was Sam.
That was the same actor.
Same actor played both parts.
Roles.
The director liked him so much when they filmed that first part that they made him Sam. Now when he had a lot of Sam had a lot of stunts and stuff, they actually brought in a 4'6", 90-pound gymnast that stunt doubled as Sam for the more rigorous scenes.
I figured they probably did
in the end, especially.
Yeah, because there was a lot of jumping and bouncing around and stuff. But Sam's just going at him, just going after Mr. Krieg, and Mr. Krieg pushes him down the stairs, and
we find out
jumps on his head and starts beating the crap out of him.
We find out Mr. Krieg was the bus driver.
Well, so in the end we realize, that's after he took Sam's mask off, and we reveal Sam's face underneath his burlap sack, which is basically like this creepy
head.
Crushed pumpkin head. And he's kind of just, I love the way they kind of integrate all these like Halloween tropes too, like just this candy all over the floor, and there's all this like Halloween stuff kind of going on while he's beating up on Mr. Krieg. But yeah, in the end we find out Sam doesn't kill him. He leaves him alone. But we do find out that Mr. Krieg is the bus driver that survived, that had killed all those kids in the quarry. Which again ties everything together.
No wonder he hates Halloween so much. He's so Halloweeno-phobic.
So, and after that, we see him in a splint, and he's all busted up, but he's giving candy out to the kids, because he's got to make sure
he's honoring Sam.
He's making sure that Sam gets taken care of. However, then we see the next kids that come to the door are all of the ghost bus kids. sitting outside all dripping and slimy and stuff. And Mr. Krieg,
Sam has dropped him off.
Screams or whatever.
Did you know in the fight scene with Sam, all of the pumpkin guts were actually not. Sam's guts were silly string and KY jelly.
Nice.
Yeah. So no pumpkins were harmed in that scene specifically.
Well, and most of the kids trick-or-treating. So a couple of fun facts before we close it all up. So most of the kids that were trick-or-treating were actually midgets, or little people, or vertically challenged, whatever you want to call them. So there weren't actually kids because everything was filmed late, and that was just
because it was supposed to be Halloween night, so everything was filmed at night, or the majority of things are filmed at night.
As we're going through the movie, like we talked about, characters from each story are seen in the backgrounds of the other stories.
Yeah, the sex robot girl shows up.
You see them a bunch, the husband and wife from the beginning. You see the kids pop up in the various stories. So it ties everything.
The principal goes across stories.
Principal crosses stories, which is really cool. And I think they did a really, really great job.
It's so much
for an anthology that's giving different stories. It ties everything in so well.
Very, very neat how they brought it all together at the end.
And during the news, they showed these newscasts kind of intermixed too, and of the Halloween parade that was going on in this town. And the reporter remarks that werewolves, zombies, and demons of every variety have descended on the normally sleepy town of Warren Valley, Ohio, which forecasts the various different things that happen
events ahead
during these stories, which I thought was fun. Anna Paquin's character is named Laurie, after Laurie Strode from Halloween.
Nice.
We already mentioned that the big kid that gets killed in the beginning by the principal is the kid from Bad Santa. That kid is freaking hilarious, and he's awesome. So funny. I wish this movie had given him a little bit more time, because in Bad Santa he's freaking hilarious. That kid's so funny. Cry Little Sister, the song from Lost Boys, is playing in the background when all the werewolf bitches are partying. Which I thought was a kind of a fun homage as well. And I actually noticed it too. I was like, I heard it.
I know, you pointed it out, and I was like, oh man, I was trying to think of where I have heard that before.
What else do we got? There was a nod to Gage from Pet Sematary when Sam cuts the Achilles tendon of Mr. Krieg, which is your compound fractures. For me, Achilles tendon freaking makes me so uncomfortable.
Achilles tendon.
Snap. But yeah, that's it. That's not Tales of Halloween. That's Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
It has really become a cult classic. It has become a part of Halloween now. You see Sam dolls and animatronics and all that at Spirit Halloween stores and at all the Halloween stuff. You see popcorn, candy bowls with Sam, and you see decorations and all kinds of stuff. Sam's really become an icon.
I bet Warner Brothers is kicking themselves in the balls for dropping this one, because it went to DVD because Warner Brothers
but it's become
shitted out.
A huge cult classic.
So
but guys, enjoy your Halloween this week. I know we got a party. We're going to have the kids on Halloween next week to go trick-or-treating. We love this season, and it's such a fun time. For those of you who don't have Samhainophobia, get out and enjoy the festivities and have so much fun this week, or this weekend. This is the big party weekend normally for Halloween.
Right.
So
it's on a Thursday.
Get out. You might be listening to this after that weekend with a hangover. You might be listening to it, later
during
next week during Halloween or whatever. But have fun, guys. Go enjoy Halloween. It's such a fun season. I love it. It's like a whole month-long party for me. So until next time, I'm not sure what we're going to tackle next time, but Feardos, until next time,
stay afraid. Stay very afraid.